Hi everyone. So my name is Soufiene Djahel. So currently I am professor in the Center for Future Transport and Cities at Coventry University. So today I'm glad to be here and to deliver this talk entitled Cabs Enabled Safer, Smarter and More Sustainable Mobility. So as you can see from the title, so the presentation will be around connected autonomous vehicles. So we will skip few slides that have been already covered by Simon just to avoid repetition. So before I start the presentation, I will give you an overview about the research center where I work now. So in our research center, we have three other research centers under the umbrella of Future Transport and Cities. We have the National Transport Design Center, which looks at the human factors, and we are mainly looking at how to design future cabs or future transportation systems, where the design of the car itself is more adapted to the choice of the humans and also to the individuals with different capabilities. We look also at the evaluation of crash impact, and this evaluation will inform the design of future cars as well and future seats. We have also the National Center for Accessible Transport, which mainly look at designing a new transport solution more adapted to people with different disability. And we have also the Center for Connected Autonomous Automotive Research, which is jointly between Coventry University and Horiba Maira. And this is where I do my most of my research around system security and connected and autonomous vehicles. So in our research center as well, we are fortunate to have access to testing facility, which is called Assured Cab Highway Testing Facility, which is available at Maira Technology Park. So here we can test any sort of connected autonomous vehicles. So here, for example, this roundabout has the diameter of 300 meters. So we can put any layout possible of multi-lanes. And then we could test, for example, the cooperation between vehicles for lane change, for platooning, and so on. We have also two street-drawn Nissan autonomous 3D electric vehicles equipped with communication capability through CODA wireless OBU with a range of LiDAR, radar, and also 360-degree camera. So we can see the whole environment, and we can also communicate between the two cars to coordinate different maneuvers on the road. So these are the main equipment and facilities we are using in our research. So obviously, when we talk about transportation system or mobility system, so usually we refer to this system as evolvable critical system. Evolvable because the technology we use to monitor traffic and to measure the traffic flow evolve continuously. The technology we had 10 years ago is completely different than the technology we are currently using on roads, like the various types of sensors, and also the cars now can provide certain input that could help the traffic authority to better control traffic and mitigate the creation of bottlenecks. Also, it is critical due to the critical impact of traffic congestion on the economy, on the environment, and on the individuals as well. So according to INRIX, so the cost that every household will pay in 2030 is corresponding to almost £2,000 per year, which is an increase by almost 45% compared to the cost of congestion in 2030, which means that it is a significant negative impact that we need to try to reduce or avoid. So here I will share with you an example of the traffic vision of transport for Greater Manchester. So according to the statistics they collected, they expect that the region of Greater Manchester will witness significant economic growth. Therefore, it will become an attractive destination for many people looking for better opportunities. And this will translate in 2035 to around 1,600,000 additional trips per day, which will be using the road infrastructure, which is already deteriorated. So their objective is that they are trying to reduce the carbon footprint by 80% around 2050. But in order to reduce that, we need also to factor this additional load. And therefore, we don't just need to update the existing infrastructure or look for a new technological solutions, but also we have to think about the new business models. So one of the emerging concept to achieve that is called mobility as a service, which means shifting away from using the cars as private means of transportation to using transportation as service, similar to what we do with our mobile phones, etc. We just subscribe to a service and we use it. Same thing, if we have connected autonomous vehicles, high penetration rate, and are adopted by public transport providers, we could expect that by having efficient traffic data collection and analytics in place, also traffic congestion mitigation and reduction techniques that help to avoid the creation of any bottleneck and provide quick and efficient response to any unexpected event on the road, and plus the capability of connected autonomous vehicles in terms of enhanced safety and traffic efficiency, we could hope that the mobility as service will run as expected and will help the traffic authority to reduce the carbon budget by X% in the future. So let's start by talking about autonomous vehicle, which is the cornerstone of this concept of mobility as service. So simply, autonomous vehicle is a car equipped with myriad of radars, lidars, and camera and other types of sensors. It is able to localize itself, sense the environment, either directly using these radars or through some information shared with other road users. Then it will build a perception through internal sensors and also through fusing the information they gather from the environment. Then it will take action, which will be translated into movement. So this, as it looks here, it looks an ideal car that could have significant positive impact on the road. Obviously, we have here number of radars and lidars, etc. Each of them is dedicated to a specific feature that will support this car. We have also different communication technology. As Simon has already mentioned, we have DSRC, we have cellular V2X, we have visible light communication, we have different frequency bands. In Japan, for example, they use 760 megahertz, in Europe, US 5.9 gigahertz, and now we are moving towards millimeter wave for vehicular communication. We have also this fascinating feature of wireless battery charging. So this is very important feature, especially if we are looking at sustainable mobility. It will enable high penetration of electric cars or electric vehicles in general, but at the same time, it requires significant investment. We need to modernize our road infrastructure by include the capability of having the infrastructure required for those cars to recharge on the move, or even the cars to share energy between each other. So then what is connected autonomous vehicles? Simply is an autonomous vehicle with a new sensor input. This new sensor input is the new information shared from other road users, including cars, including the infrastructure, and so on. Which means when we make decisions, instead of just relying on the input we have ourselves, we also extend that knowledge by getting some wider or extended perception from other neighboring vehicles. So obviously we have cars on land, which are autonomous vehicles, autonomous shuttle, intelligent rail transit. We have cars on the sky as well, when we talk about drones or eVTOL, which is emerging transport means, which means the taxi drones. And also we have cars on water, like autonomous and remote control chips or autonomous underwater vehicles. So here in this presentation, we just focus on cars on land. So obviously, there is different types of communication capability. Like here, for example, the car could share knowledge or could coordinate action with other cars, could inform pedestrians through a mobile phone about probability of accident, just warning the pedestrian about something, and could also coordinate with the road infrastructure. Here, the coordination is not just limited to the traffic lights, could go to roadside units, could go also towards deployed sensors and so on. So in this context, with vehicle networks, we have a myriad of use cases. Mainly, we are concerned with the safety ones, which are the more important ones. Example like adaptive cruise control, blind spot warning, etc. So this information shared between vehicles requires ultra-reliable communication with low delay constraints, and also the communication should be fully secure as well. So the potential benefits of this technology connected and autonomous vehicles, so it may lead to significant enhancement in driving safety. It can also significantly shorten the trip times and provides the drivers and passengers with more comfortable journeys. It will help to significantly decrease the CO2 emissions and therefore achieve sustainable mobility, and also could improve the ITS service efficiency by also providing or putting their resources as service to other potential users. So here, an example of safer driving. So this could be supported by cabs through cooperative maneuvers like safe and efficient lane change, which means the cars, they need to communicate, coordinate their action. For example, here, if we have one car wants to insert itself into a new lane, it can coordinate with the other vehicles in that lane to create safe gap, and also to accelerate, decelerate, to allow that vehicle to insert itself safely. In case of accident, also, the vehicle will generate what we call emergency message, which have very strict requirements in terms of propagation delay and in terms also the reliability of transmission. Also, they could warn each other about any potentially hidden obstacle. So in order to achieve this benefit of safer driving, there is a number of constraints in terms of the communication protocols used. So we need to have dissemination protocols which are fast and at the same time reliable. And we know that the cabs or vehicle networks, in order to run efficiently, they need to periodically share a large number of what we call beacons or cooperative awareness message, and this may lead to congestion state, and therefore some packets will be lost. And therefore, in order to achieve the first objective, we need to significantly minimize the number of lost packets. The other problem as well is potential of cyber threats. The content of the beacon need to be accurate and need to be correct. So if one car is compromised, it might start broadcasting manipulated data that may lead to confusion. And if this car, for example, is part of platoon, it may also lead to accidents or just simply disturb the traffic flow. So also mechanisms need to be there to make sure or to give insurance to the receiver that this data is accurate and represent the current situation. So here, this is an example of work we have done the last few years about the cooperation between the cars and traffic light controllers in order to minimize the trip time. Here is simply what we did. So let me just stop the video if I can. Yeah. So if you can see here, this was a red light, and we have the two road segments with different traffic volumes. So the gap here between the last vehicle and the traffic light is different between the two lanes. So now, instead of having fixed traffic light timing, here will be adaptive depending on how busy is this road segment. And this is to minimize the number of stop and start events. So here, for example, you will see that the traffic light on the upper lane will switch to green first, and then the traffic light in the lower, sorry, go back. Yeah. And this will avoid the vehicles to move to the new road segment and then stop and then start again. And this will create delay. So we want to completely eliminate that delay so that we synchronize the traffic light switching with the occupancy of the next road segment. So here also another example of connected and automated mobility. This is a driver in the loop simulator we have in our National Transport Design Center. So this is a vehicle modified and it is integrated with a 3D environment. So here, for example, we test how potential drivers or passengers would react to future transport means. Here we could create virtual environment like the one you can see here. We have automated shuttles. We have pedestrians sharing the same road space, and we want to see and to study how this will affect both the safety of the pedestrians and also the level of comfort of the passenger and driver of those vehicles as well. So another topic we address in our research center is about transport electrification, and we are currently within one project we are looking at routing and recharge scheduling for electric cars, which means here in case of there is any event on the road, we need to calculate the best detour. For conventional vehicles, you look for minimize the time or distance. For electric vehicles, we have a number of extra constraints that we need to take on board: the limited battery capacity, the number of charging stations available, and also the type of charging station in terms of the speed, sometimes also the energy type, whether it is renewable energy or not, the price, and also how long you need to recharge the battery to the level that enable you to get to your destination as well. And on top of that, we have the range anxiety, which was the main obstacle that probably prevents many people from buying electric vehicles. So all these need to be addressed in order to increase the public acceptance of electric vehicles, which are one of the main blocks for sustainable mobility. So here are a few statistics about the different type of charging points available in England. So according to Department for Transport, in January 2024, we have 53,000 charging points of different categories. And based on the prediction of the expected increase of electric vehicles on the road, we need 2 million charge points by 2030. While according to this rate increase, we will have only 300,000, which means on top of the deployment of charge point, we need also to have certain solution that will enable smooth integration of electric vehicles in road traffic. So also we have the cooperative adaptive cruise control, which is one of the interesting features that will enable more sustainable mobility, where the cars, they will share their intention in advance to coordinate the acceleration, deceleration. And this is very important mainly for trucks, because the trucks, when they brake, they generate a lot of CO2 emission. So it is very important that their acceleration, deceleration will be smooth. So here, for example, if we imagine that we have platoon of autonomous trucks on the motorway, so to ensure that this platooning feature will have positive impact on traffic flow on the motorway, we need to analyze first what should be the frequency of the platooning, and what is the ideal length of platoon of trucks, for example, what is the optimal speed, the optimal gaps between the tracks, and also the distance to surrounding traffic, because we don't want to have platoon of tracks that will create certain safety implication for other road users. Imagine, for example, that you are driving your car and you have platoon of tracks on the left lane and you want to exit. They are blocking your way. So you miss that junction and then probably you start accelerating whatever, or you may take certain action that will put your life in danger. So here, for example, a recent solution we developed in our lab about how to use e-curves in order to reduce traffic congestion. So this solution is inspired from wireless networks. Those who work in wireless networks, you know that we have cognitive radio technology, which means if your frequency band is overloaded, you can scan other neighbor frequency bands, and whenever you find that they are underutilized, you can use them for a given period. Whenever you detect that there is primary users back, you just jump back. This is what we did here. So here in the UK, most of the routes we have priority lane or reserved lane for buses. So the idea of the solution is that why not taking advantage of that underutilized lanes whenever they are not used by their primary users, which are the buses. So we can, if we have congested lanes, for example, there is a centralized system, which is here, the global congestion evaluation engine, take decision and notify a number of electric cars that they are allowed for a given period to use those empty bus lanes. So they can jump for a given period until new buses arrive and then jump back to the original lane. And this is how it looked like. So here on the upper window, we have just normal traffic. There is no modification. The one on the bottom, we have modification with our scheme. And you see here the bus lane, whenever it is gray, which means it is only for buses because there is a bus on that lane. Whenever it is underutilized, some vehicles, they are allowed to jump and use it, and then it becomes black. And here will enable the traffic to move quicker than here, the upper window. And here, obviously, we give priority to electric cars because we want the mobility to be more sustainable so that we encourage more people to buy electric vehicles. That's the idea behind the solution. So beside these features that it will enhance safety and make the travel faster and more comfortable, there is also potential for connected autonomous vehicles to become service provider, which means the car could provide certain resources or certain features to other road users and third party as a service. For example, the car has the UPU, has the data storage capability, has sensing capability, and could also play the role of data relay or data forwarder. So the idea here is that we're not thinking about the car itself as an Airbnb service provider, which means whenever certain resources are underutilized, the car could provide those resources to other cars, to pedestrians using their mobile phones, to drones, for example. We could imagine that drones are dispatched for monitoring traffic. They could land on the roof of the car, which is equipped with charging capability, recharge their battery, or just they can recharge their battery wirelessly to minimize the need to go back to the control center, recharge, and back to the mission again. So here the idea that we could imagine that we have mobile computing on the wheels, where platoon of cars can provide certain computing resources to run other tasks. The key challenge to have this as a realistic mobile cloud platform is the rapid mobility of the cars and also the highly variable availability of those computing resources. Because the car also, it needs those computing resources and storage resources for its own services, and probably for certain services provided to their passengers as well. So this variability is very difficult to predict. So we need to model and accurately predict the user request pattern as well. The users who become the customer of this mobile computing platform, their behavior and the pattern at which they send the request could be unpredictable. So if we have a robust model, we can have a management platform that could make excellent use of those resources, and also the handover between different cluster of cars or different platoon of cars as well. So currently we are investigating those questions with an RaceMe project. So we have one postdoc for 3 years. So trying to build the protocols that enable this platform to run. And obviously certain approach we are currently exploring is the use of federated learning. Obviously there is a risk here that if one client is compromised, it might affect the global decision made. So one more work as well we have done recently is about the use of drones to help reducing traffic congestion in case of emergency on roads. So the idea that assuming that we have the traffic light systems has failed due to technical problem or due to being under cyber attack, so we could use drones as flying traffic light controllers. They have global view on the road network. They could just use computer vision techniques to analyze the pictures and probably the videos to get accurate estimation of traffic flow, etc. And the idea then, the drones will decide about the timing of different traffic lights, green, red, etc. And then we deploy deep reinforcement learning so that we can improve the efficiency of the model run by the UIB over time. And here the simulation results we have obtained. to just explain here. So here what we did, we ran simulation for 3,000 seconds. We created an accident at 600 seconds. And then we let the congestion build for 300 seconds. And then we dispatched the drones to start controlling the junctions. So we ran the drones for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes. And here you can see at the end, this is the congestion state. So we have road closed due to accident, and then the congestion start to build up. This without any intervention from traffic lights or drones. This is the original scenario. And here, when we apply our technique for different period of time, 10 minutes, 20, and 30 minutes. You can see for 30 minutes, we almost reduced the congestion to the half, which means the traffic light timing decided by the deep reinforcement learning model run by the swarm of drones was very efficient in dealing with this unpredictable traffic congestion on the road, even if traffic light controllers are failed or under attack. Which means that there is potential for those flying drones to have certain support to traffic authority in case of emergency. If you have your road infrastructure failed, you have certain mobile, flexible, and easy to deploy equipment that could help to avoid catastrophic situation. So now, just to conclude, so as Simon said, so we believe that this technology of connected autonomous vehicles is very promising technology. So in order to take advantage of it and increase its penetration rate in the future, obviously we need to have the regulation in place, and we won't have the regulation in place unless there is evidence about the benefit of this technology and also the safety that this technology could be integrated into conventional car traffic safely with high efficiency, will be resilient to cyber attacks, and also need to be accepted by the public. So all these are challenges need to be overcome. We expect that if this technology is adopted widely, will have significant societal, economic, and environmental impact. Thank you very much.